believe in Santa Claus, too?
Welcome to the end of the game.
Episode. We'll do some short takes on it. But before we do that, I want to hear Brett's theories for this week. We only got one more episode, and I met you late in this game. As all love happens, it happens too late. I want to get myself some Brett theory.
All right. Well, I got two main ones, and then I'm just going to revisit a third. But starting out with Maeve, I have a theory that Serac actually merged himself onto Maeve's Pearl, exactly how Ford merged himself onto Bernard's Pearl last season. It seems that Serac, based on that line that he said, that his hologram said, "I wish I could be there with you, Jean-Mi, but the man I was no longer exists," kind of implies that he may just be data now in the system. Then I remember that scene at the beginning of episode 6 that showed Maeve and Serac in the virtual Eden. It was kind of an odd scene for me at the time, but thinking about it, I was basically what you were seeing was they were in a simulation together, each as a conscious data set, one original host, one former human. This reminded me of last season, Bernard and Ford in the cradle. Very similarly, they were in a simulation together, two different conscious data sets, one original host, one former human. What happened there? Ford merges himself onto Bernard's Pearl, and at that point, at times, he could actually take over Bernard's behavior, like when he was machine gunning down the extraction team in the map room at the Mesa. Mm-hmm. So here, I believe the same thing happened. Serac merged himself onto Maeve's Pearl, and then took over her body when she was fighting Dolores.
Because it is true that the James Delos project has not been complete, but the only time that we have seen a person exist in some form other than these failed expeditions with James Delos is by them living in the non-material world. So through simulations like the Forge, and by combining themselves onto a pre-existing Pearl. So I actually kind of really like this because we have not seen the physical form of Serac, and this would make sense because they preface this can happen, and he is a Ford-esque character. I really like that, actually. I actually don't have a problem with that conclusion, and I love the methodology. I love all of it, actually, because I think that adds to it. I think that because Serac's a fool right now. We need something. I mean, else he's going to be Carl Strand, who's like, guess I wasn't. They sent like their 80th best guy.
And speaking of Serac being a fool, if he were smart, he would have made a copy of Maeve before he started messing with it. So I'm thinking he made a copy of her, and he probably made a copy of these other three hosts that he got to help Maeve. And I took it one step further. I don't think he would have brought in additional hosts to help Maeve unless he were in full control of those hosts as well. So I believe he probably merged himself onto Clementine's Pearl and Hanario's Pearl.
It's Hanamaro, okay?
Hanario.
Hanamaro Rex, all right?
In a sense, he pulled a Ford, and he pulled a Dolores by making multiple copies of himself.
Ooh, yeah, because again, a sensible person wouldn't create a chaotic situation in which he had no ability to stabilize. So, and again, they can merge, and this is taking us into this quantum, physics with the quantum computers and all that, this capability to exist in the non-material world. And I don't hate that, because why, Maeve, if he knows anything about Maeve, which he seems to know at least something about her, why would he think this is somebody that's just gonna do whatever I say? He's got to inject himself in there. And I Jenny, can you name one smart thing that Serac's done? No, I'm serious. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but name one smart thing.
I mean, buying out Delos piecemeal.
That was pretty smart. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Yeah. All right.
Sorry, I had to come up with something.
No, I
That
know.
was what
I
I
forced
had.
you.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah.
It's a good
But
one.
really, other than that, though, I mean, and that was smart to do. But beyond that, he has not done one intelligent thing.
Yeah, we're talking about like a almost living god, like a Ford-esque technology, like Elon Musk.
Oh, he thinks he's God.
No, they all do, and that their hubris makes them falter. But at least like the other geniuses, like at least exhibited like intelligence far greater. Not just I knew how to buy out a company strategically and chip down on the stock. It's like no, but you're right. But that thank you, because that just shows right there that is it's like, well, he did good like in his interview at Arby's. You know what I mean? Like, which is nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's quite the feat. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But again, you're
He
not
won The
going.
Apprentice.
Yeah, you won. You're the boss now. Of what? Not no nothing. It's not a real company. It's just this chair. So yeah, no, yeah, but yeah, he did manage to acquire a company that was just after its second massacre, and it's Jeff Bezos was running around killing people during the aftermath of it. So he got that, and that is what he can pin his pride on right there. So I really actually like this, and we'll get to your next one, Brett, because he has to do something else other than this would have been posed as the guy that's like just he is adequate at acquiring properties. You know what I mean? Like that's like that would be like the characterization of him. He's a decently skilled financial man.
Mm-hmm.
Not supercomputer, Rehoboam, biblical references, all that. None of that would be applied.
Yeah, it could be argued that his brother was the intellect behind building those systems anyway. So
I think, yeah, it definitely is. And I still don't, again, understand why he killed Dempsey. He's like, can't kill Dempsey. He's like, why? He's like, because I'm going to. Have fun in cold storage. You said you had another one?
Yep. All right, so this theory is a two-parter.
Nice.
All right, so I have a theory that Caleb never left AR therapy. He's been in it the entire time.
You son of a bitch. I knew you were going to get me eventually.
It was strange how when Stubbs went looking for the list of successful members of the re-education program, that the only name he came up with was Caleb. And I believe that this profile was planted by Dolores for Stubbs to find, which means it's possible that the true efficacy rate for reconditioning outliers is 0% instead of 1 in 10, and all of the people in frozen pods are still experiencing their AR therapy, while Serac is just waiting to retrieve and implement this base programming data from Westworld that can supposedly fix them, and that Caleb is one of the people in these pods. So after Dolores discovered the secret location, Sonora, Mexico, last week, she went there, accessed Solomon, and selected Caleb as the person whose AR therapy she would infiltrate in order to recondition him into doing what she wants, which means this entire season of the Dolores Caleb story, at least, has been a simulated experience controlled by Dolores, generated by Solomon, and played out for Caleb that has only taken place in the past day or two of real time. After all, time is just a construct when you're in a simulation. So using Solomon, the end result of the therapy is that Caleb possesses the instructions for how to carry out the perfect strategy to achieve Dolores' goal as if it were his own plan. And I can even envision him emerging from the therapy saying, "I know what I must do," just like William did.
So
that's part one.
That's the best one I've heard that I hate the most. So my thing is, she gets the same results this way, but also, in all fairness, I've been saying, what the hell? He doesn't ask any questions. He doesn't do this. It seems odd. But a lot of times we mistake, it's one of the best shows on TV, but it's still, sometimes there's bad writing. Like she's getting, you're pretty much proposing that she gets to where we're at right now, but through the augmented reality, instead of the real world, which I think has got validity because it's not sensible what we see here either. But
I'm saying, yeah, people are plugged into Solomon, and she access Solomon and is using Solomon to basically implant what she's using the reconditioning therapy for her own good.
Mm-hmm.
So she's reconditioning him how she wants.
Yeah, because that would give her, yeah, and there is that conflict between them, which would lead for a better reveal. I hate it, but I don't hate it
Now,
so much.
this is when I want to tie in what Jenny mentioned earlier. I thought just one little thing that was weird was that how Francis talks about his kid being sick, but Outlayers don't have children. So
For Solomon, they don't.
this entire war story and the entire like killing friends story just could all be made up.
Yeah,
Weird thing, I wonder, when was Solomon retired and Rehoboam brought in?
15 years ago, I think they said.
Yeah.
So Caleb was at that facility with Solomon reconditioning him 15 years ago. I mean, how old is
Supposedly.
he anyway?
Yeah, in the Russian Civil War was, I believe, 30 years ago. Somebody put down on the timeline, the time in which this Civil War is happening is the time, I believe, in which the Man in Black is first in the park.
Right. So, I mean, how old is Caleb supposed to be? Maybe 35?
72 by my
Before.
calculation.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that would be
That's a little
really
weird.
strange for him to have been there with Solomon when Solomon was active. So and clearly they're not still using that facility to re-educate people, but they're using it for cold storage.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I have questions.
So
I agree that that's weird.
okay, what I'm trying to figure out here, and man, because there's a lot that makes sense about that. So what have we seen in the real world that Caleb was a part of? That if we take it away from the real world, you get what I mean? If we go with the what would deconstruct our story? Meaning what would be devastating?
Well, one thing I thought of is that that ball, the masquerade that they went to, Caleb was there and Bernard and Stubbs were also there. But it could be that Dolores is using Bernard and Stubbs inside this simulation because Bernard's just been a pawn, all season long anyway, it seems like.
And she brought him back for a logical. So yeah, that's hard to argue too. 'Cause she said, "I need you,"
and that could mean that they're obviously helping William right now. Well, it could be like what you said last week that William is still also in his AR therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and he hasn't actually woken up.
Don't pander to me with that.
So,
my vantage.
I'm bringing it around. I might agree with you on that now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what can we take out of the real world interaction. How much do we see of Dolores in the real world without Caleb?
We see her with Liam at the party. We see her with Jerry getting all his money.
Yeah, I'm saying not all of that is
no, that's what I'm figuring out.
Yeah,
is because
right, okay.
when you got Caleb, like in here. So
I'm like trying to remember and then we see her with Martin.
Yeah, the stuff with building her copies, I believe, is real. The Charlotte Hale stuff is real.
So when we separate her from Caleb in what we've seen in the real world, now also we see separate incidences of Bernard and Stubbs with William, specifically this episode, speaking about what Dolores is doing with Caleb when she's not with them. So I guess still, because would that put William in the simulation as well? I think that there's a lot less that I can come up with right now than I would think that would crack holes in that. But I see a few things that would crack holes because it's connected. Loosely, Caleb is connected almost with everything. Even if he's not there, he's loosely connected. But damn good. I mean, that is like, yeah.
It's an out there theory, but I kind of liked it. And I have a part 2, which ties it all together.
Oh shit! You haven't got the part 2 yet. I'm sorry. I tried to.
I have not.
You should have said, "Shut up, Justin." I didn't even finish yet.
Well, no, I wanted you to try to poke holes in it first.
Well, no. Well, and again, guys, the reason I'm trying for everybody watching, I love these theories, but this is, it's not the kiss everybody's ass show. It's let's have fun and have different perspectives. So, and man, he's giving me trouble here. So this part 2 is not great. Uh-oh.
All right, so part 2. Okay, so part 1 is Caleb is actually still in AR treatment as we speak. Part 2. Sirach acquired the guest data after his Delos takeover. So By taking over Delos, Serac ensured that he would obtain all the Delos property, including the secret base programming guest data that Westworld had to offer. So now that he has this data, he can implement it by coding it into the AR treatments that are currently in progress for thousands of outliers, converting them into controllable, predictable members of society. But what he doesn't realize is that when he releases these outliers back into society, one of them is programmed to take him out and take over the world.
Okay, now so how would you pose that she picked Caleb?
She probably tapped into Solomon and figured out that this guy is very impressionable, maybe.
And it is the one thing I really like about it is the added advantage of her having control of Solomon, right? to fight Rehoboam with Solomon, if I'm on track there. Yeah, to use the technology against.
Yeah. So
I like that aspect of it. I again, it doesn't completely strip away everything. It makes, a lot of it a little bit disconnected, but not enough to really ruin it. So want to know what? I'm going to say that out of all of them, that again, the methodology is strong. There's been everything you're talking about has been prefaced. There's a precedent set for it. You're not speaking of anything that we haven't seen happen before. Like as far as these actions and the abilities of these people to do the things. You're not like injecting a new skill set or anything like that. This is all within the context of the show, and that's and it's a fun a thing to think about, because I really like the idea of her using Solomon against Rehoboam. I really like that the most. So, I think that people are gonna love it, Brett. I maybe I have more, but that's some pretty solid stuff. Jenny, anything to say on it? We're not looking to crush people here, and I can't even if I wanted, I can't do it. Yeah.
Come on, Jenny.
Honestly, I'm like, well, that could be. I mean, it's feasible. I don't know, like the first part, I don't know that I necessarily believe that he never left AR therapy, but the second part, possibly, at least the part about him getting the guest data and all that. And yeah, I mean, it's feasible. I'm not going to argue it because I have nothing to back myself up, but I don't necessarily think that he's still in the AR, but I think that is a feasible conclusion that you have backed up.
Well, it's not relying on shock is what I like about it.
Right.
The twist will be fun if that happens, but the reason that you're proposing this is to explain away, which is, where a lot of theories falter, some of the best ones, because what you are explaining away like plot holes, flaws in, the story here, minor ones. It's a good story, but there's some things that it's like, oh, the smartest guy in the world, not acting like that and so forth. So like, yeah, like you're bringing in aspects that add to the story, don't destroy it. I'm gonna say, just because I have to stick with it, I don't think it's what's happening, but if that's what's happening, I pray to Rehoboam, I pray to Ford, I pray to any god there is, that's the way they do it, because at least it wasn't just like, guess what wasn't real, guys. It's like, it wasn't real because I needed this control.
That would piss me the fuck off.
It'll piss off the people that want the theory after they get their transitory pleasure. You know what I mean? Their moment high, like they smoke some crack rock. They're like, yay, it's different. Oh, everything's meaningless. But this leaves us in a way that isn't meaningless. This gives us her control of another system. This leads us to the same path we're on actually with Caleb. Anyways, it just leaves it in a way that actually is arguably a little less contrived. And I hate to say it, a little less contrived, because the whole time he's just like, okay. She's like, this is important for you. He's like, okay. What type of revolution? She's like, this is the one question, you idiot. The good kind. He's like, okay. She's like, these are the people that did bad stuff to you. He's like, I guess they are. And then it's like, don't you want to find out, boy? He's like, if it's okay, if we have time. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, not a lot of that adds up, and this would be that's good, Brett. You might have just freaking converted me, brother. You might have just made me a believer.
You made him a believer in the simulation within a simulation within a simulation theory.
Oh, hypothetically, if.
Well, there's a little part 2 of the theory about Sirach being on Maeve's Pearl, because I just thought it was really funny that William is like hell bent on killing hosts, like that's his new mission now. And it could be that Sirach is like in 3 or 4 host bodies right now. So it could be that Dolores wants William to have that realization in his AR treatment that he needs to go out and he needs to kill these 4 hosts or whatever that are actually Sirach. So that would be funny that if he's driven on that mission and Caleb is driven on his mission, but really they're just both Dolores's mission.
Yeah, because it would be killing the vassal, I mean.
Right.
Yeah. So again,
probably hosts anyway. Like I believe that there probably is.
What do you think? Go ahead.
I was just going to change to my one final theory, unless y'all had.
No, please just say shut up, Justin, and let me tell my theories. All right, I'm just gonna I'm gonna keep doing it. So.
And then one final theory, which is just revisiting a past theory. By activating the encryption key in Bernard's head, Dolores will replace Rehoboam's mirror world with the unlocked virtual Eden.
I don't remember us talking about this before, Brett.
Well,
how long ago was this?
I had the crazy theory about her like sending all humans into a virtual heaven. Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
Kind of the same thing, but they keep talking about this virtual Eden, and she sent it somewhere, and there's an encryption key that I believe unlocks it, and I'm just waiting for this to happen. I think she sent it into Rehoboam.
I've been waiting for Bernard to have a purpose all fucking season.
She changed the court at the last second and sent it somewhere, so I believe that she sent it into Rehoboam, and she's going to use the encryption key in Bernard's head to unlock it, and there's going to be some sort of flip where it goes from the mirror of the real world to this virtual Eden world, and that could be. Do you
think all the previous hosts will be there? The ones that are in the virtual Eden?
Well, they could be there, but the way it depends on how it's defined and how it was created. That if you can make it whatever you want to be, you can make it to where you're by yourself and you're not interacting with anybody, kind of thing, you know. Or
it's your everybody's own personal virtual.
The paradox of paradise is like, what if my mom is a horrible person, but I love her? Like, does Hitler get into heaven because his mom loved him? You know, because a true heaven to her would be with her son. Unfortunately, her son was one of the biggest pieces of shit to ever live. So it's like, you know, like, how do you do? Does your dog get to go? Does everybody get to go? I don't like my brother so
all
much.
Dogs go to heaven.
Yeah, you know, it's like, I don't yeah.
When Ketchita entered and he immediately saw his the love of his life, I forget her name. She wasn't a host that went in there. He like created her in there. You know, so it's like you can create whatever you want, kind of thing. So it doesn't really matter if they're there or not. I mean, I assume their data is still there, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be directly interacting with humans.
Right? They're not like living in they're the same. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. But isn't that kind of sad? It's like, well, I guess if you can't tell, does it matter? But isn't that kind of the commentary, like of this show, like, you know, like overall, like it's like they can create these fabricated realities, but you know, like what truly makes you. So it's like, wouldn't it be kind of like sad to know that like it's just a projection of this person using the data for them, like that it's not authentic, you know what I mean?
But perhaps you don't know that when you're there. So it just feels real.
Paradise is blind. Yeah, paradise is blind with ignorance. I like it. That actually is paradise. I live it every day. Mm-hmm. No, my problem is I think too much self-reflection. But no. All
right, Brett, you got to go into this fun prediction.
But there's another? Jesus.
Well, I call this is not really a theory. It's just it would be a fun prediction. It's not based on a whole lot other than the idea that if Sirach is actually in Maeve's Pearl, then that opens up the possibility that if you want to bring Ford back for the finale, which who doesn't want to see Anthony Hopkins
we do.
again?
We want to see him.
When the waves converge.
Ford could manifest himself again from Bernard's mind, and then he could have a conversation with Sirach, because it's not out of the realm of possibility that they know each other from their past. And so it would be really interesting if, you know, they both fabricated, out of data and like had a conversation with each other.
I
Our
think that would be cool.
karate fight. Karate fight. What do you think
Ford
for?
Rock karate fight. Oh my, that'd be funny.
Imagine the dancing from Oceans with I'm blanking on his name, Vincent Castle, and then imagine Anthony Hopkins, like either Hannibal him or I guess him with a walking stick. I don't know. But yeah, it would be. I think it'd be close. So yeah, no, that's very interesting. They have to know each other. He sold the information, like the Man in Black.
Well,
but he sold the information.
William did.
But Ford knows everything, so it's one of those things. It's like, is that the one? Like, that's a huge oversight.
The idea that,
Right.
that Maeve's escape journey originally, maybe she was going to Sirach because
Yeah,
where
we
else-
had talked
where
about
the
that
hell
previously.
could she possibly go in the real world and be safe? So,
And they were looking. That was the original sighting of the mole. It was to seek that out. It's in season 1, actually. Charlotte's betrayal, like that is supposedly her mission there. So for some people that think that was like whatever, their own idea, yeah, no, that's been there the whole time. It's a little bit hidden. But yeah, everybody was so surprised when they found out she was the mole. I was like, I thought they like explicitly stated this season ago. Like, I didn't get it, but whatever. Praise to whoever wants it, I guess.
Those are just the people that weren't watching it as closely.
No,
or
they're the people that
times.
Those are the people that are claiming to watch it and be the authorities. So it's weird. I'm like, whatever.
Well,
Anyways, we'll cut
they're
it.
wrong.
Yeah, no, but no, yeah. Though, I don't want to cut the fun bag short. Is it? Are you out? Are you out of intelligence?
yeah, I think that's everything.
You're like the Energizer Bunny of intellect, dude. It just keeps on going, and then I'm just like the Noid from remember the old pizza commercials? I stomp on it. I'm like and run away. So no, so that is.
I think that was Domino's.
One more real quick one.
See,
I'm just gonna say this because I visualize it. It would be really cool if that execute button that Dolores hits, the way they collapse to the ground reminds me of the way Maeve collapsed to the ground in episode 2 when she was yanked out of the simulation, and Hector kind of collapsed when he was yanked out of the simulation. It's not like they just like they're turned off, like freeze all motor functions, when they were decommissioned.
Yeah.
It's like, I wonder if the show is trying to tell us this is what happens when they're yanked from a simulation. So it'd be really cool, instead of like an EMP that went off, if that button just like threw their consciousnesses out of the simulation into somewhere else.
But the EMP would do that, actually. An EMP would possibly. Now, I've read, because everybody asks on the after show us, and I'm like, none of us have like that information, but I have done the research after the little bit of it, and there's the possibility that like people like, what's up with this earpiece still working, and they're like that would so, but it would momentarily stunt these systems. So the simulation, in theory, it would make sense, at least especially with this show, because please tell me how the bullets work. You know what I mean? That we don't need that. That can still be an EMP, but that would like glitch the simulation, right? And they'd be thrusted in and out of it, which would cause that.
It could be both things, and it also, I wonder if that means that Solomon could have left the like Solomon could still be alive in some other level or something. Who knows? Yeah,
no, those are. We had so many questions about like that were just unanswerable.
The EMP is supposedly erases the data, right?
No, it's an electronic.
What I heard somewhere today.
If it crashes a system, it could, but electromagnetic pulse.
Right.
So it sends out a wave that is disruptive to like sonar, to any type of technology. It doesn't necessarily destroy it, but it's not. It's like smoking. It's not good for it. You know what I mean?
Okay. I did not look it up. I had heard that it erased, and I was like, really? Because I don't think they're gone.
It could.
Or it could be a lower level type of electromagnetic wave that's not going to destroy everything. It just, because this is the future. So it could be kind of like an EMP, but just not destroy everything.
Yeah, and an EMP doesn't necessarily destroy everything. It
Right.
just and by them saying it erases it, it could, but that would just be an effect of it being damaged from the EMP. Its sole
And
purpose
I feel
is
like
not to
because
erase.
its purpose was to keep Solomon from leaving. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it would erase Solomon as long as it stopped him by shutting him down. Like, who's going to be there to start him back up? So he's effectively erased, or not erased, but effectively dead, because nobody's going to come back and turn him back on. So, but then all those people are going to die too.
Yeah, I think they're going
In
to
the pods.
Possibly,
Pod people are going to die because the refrigeration is going to be shut off too, isn't it?
It's not going to be shut off unless
all the power went out.
No, it momentarily.
It turned dark, and we didn't see it come back on.
But the way in which that would work is that it would disrupt. It would not destroy. So if
right,
you
I'm
still
not saying it would destroy it, but if it's shut off and nobody comes back to start it back up, how's it going to start back up?
Because it's not
again?
a switch shutting off like a few, like a generator or anything. It's the pulse interrupts the flow of energy, and then once the pulse dissipates, the energy is able to operate again. Get what I mean? Nobody slammed the switch down. It's not a hard turn off.
Okay.
You wouldn't need somebody. I'm not saying, again, you maybe would need
I'm
to
not arguing it because
Yeah.
I don't know enough about it. I just was saying, it effectively shuts Solomon down, which prevents him from leaving. And also, he's not going to be able to continue to run probably, because I would assume that he's going to need some kind of intervention to get going again. But I don't know that for a fact.
And I'm not an expert either. Just what I know about it is that it'd be like, okay, so, sometimes your power flickers, you know what I mean? But you don't need to go mess with your fuse box or anything.
Right.
Like, it's going to cause something more along those lines. So like you would think that this quantum computing at least has a backup battery, like of some sort. Like I'm just saying it's not a hard shut off, but it could erase data because of a malfunction or
Right.
any type of thing is possible. But generally speaking, I think we're led to believe that this was this was just a moment that they were disrupted, and it worked for what happened with Dolores and Maeve that needed to happen, and it's a brief disruption. It is not like the end of the world switch, hypothetically. If
I think it does make some sense. I don't know if that's what's going on, but I thought it was a fun little theory.
the road ends essentially in the same place that it leads to the same place, so that's a very big part of it. Everybody else is like, it could just all be not happening. I'm like, so what's happening? And they're like, I need to back that up. I'm like, you should, you probably should. But no, you guys are fantastic. I think that this season finale, it's not extended from what I know, but
We can hope.
It's got to happen.
yeah, it's definitely, we know the show is going to happen, and that is breaking news.
Right. They're going to have at least one more season, and they've been contracted through 6 seasons. So
That's weird.
We'll see.
Yeah, they planned on 5, and that's good. It's important to note that HBO isn't so concerned with viewership as far as they are concerned with subscriptions.
right, because
Yeah.
their viewership has been lower this season.
As long
Right.
as subscriptions aren't dropping off during this, the trends aren't showing that people are dropping. They're probably still showing that people are. HBO is working off a system of, like, Watchmen very much so kept people subscribed. At the very least is their hope and a business model in time for Westworld. Westworld has to do the same thing for another show. You got your pillars, you got your staples that you need to keep people. When they see subscriptions drop, or they don't see a rise in them before, then that's something they would probably be worried about. I'm not speaking for them, but they don't give a shit if the people that give them money don't watch it. As long as they, you know what I mean? It is what it is. I mean, maybe they give a shit, maybe 1 or 2 fucks. But no, you guys have been fantastic. We've got W. Axel Foley joining us for the finale. I don't know if you guys are aware of him. He's the host of this podcast. Because guess what? I was just a simulation. Yeah, no, it's been so much fun. We met 3 weeks ago, and I feel like we bonded. We're pretty much best friends. And it's truly fantastic. I like doing this, video cast and just having this lovely discussion with people about a show that I absolutely love. Brett's theory, I'll cut separately as well. and I will try to maybe do 3 pieces of this and give everybody a little bit of shine, because I'm a little bit lacking in brevity, so it's probably going to be a long episode.
Just yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone.
Yeah.
Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you.
Yeah.
I walked out this morning and I wrote down this song. I just can't remember who to send it to.
So much pressure and pain, there's a